Welcome to another PLA podcast. I am so blessed to have our guest today, and we are going to be talking about some topics I absolutely adore. Lucky for me and lucky for all of you listening. Harsha, welcome to the PLA podcast. It's such a treat to have you on here.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dunia, for hosting me today. I'm super excited to share my journey and give whatever the knowledge I can share with the community. Yeah, looking forward to.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. And I would love to formally introduce you to our audience so they can get to know you a little bit more and your story, your background, etc. So let me run through that. Meet Harsha Pitawela, senior software engineer at AWS community builder and AI educator with 8+ years of experience designing scalable cloud and full stack solutions with expertise in automation and cloud optimization. At the forefront of applying AI to real world challenges, blending innovation with cost efficient infrastructure. Creator of Elevate Academy on YouTube, sharing tutorials on software engineering and AI with thousands of learners worldwide. Passionate about making complex technology simple and accessible for both professionals and aspiring engineers, bringing valuable insights from working at the intersection of cloud, software, and machine intelligence. Harsha, it's so lovely to have you on here. Welcome once again to the PLA podcast.
Thank you very much for that wonderful introduction, Dunia. Yeah, I'm super excited to share whatever the and share and address whatever the questions you have and share my knowledge with the community today. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'd love to take you back in time. And, I love asking this question just because I think there's so much value in asking it. And I think it's something all of us should be asking ourselves at different phases of our career. What is one piece of advice you wish you knew at the beginning of your career that you may actually give to aspiring engineers that just are entering their career for the very first time today, knowing everything you know now from all of this experience?
Yeah, it's a very great question, I would say. It's a fantastic question, and based on where I am at my career, there are three pieces of advice I would give based on my experience and past career positions I have held. So number one is, it's not specifically for engineering, it could be for any job. This is something I have seen most of the time. The great speaker Tony Robbins also mentioning about pattern recognition. So you have to, it's a muscle you have to build. So any engineer, if they are able to identify patterns early in their career, and if they build that muscle to identify patterns easily and connect that, I mean, that's a very important thing. And then you can apply it in a future scenario if those conditions met in the future situation. And then once they practice that muscle, once they repeat doing that, they will learn how to create new patterns out of the existing patterns for a condition that hasn't yet born, right? So that is one thing I want to encourage all the new engineers, because maybe if we go to the engineering side, there are architectures, there are design patterns that we learn. Okay, if these conditions meet, this solution will fit. So that is how we address life also. Sometimes in our personal lives, when we have a debt situation, we try to negotiate certain things, we try to balance things. So it's a situation that are certain circumstances, and there is a solution we plug in. The same thing you need to master in the career, in the financial management, in everything. So if you practice your muscle to identify those patterns and apply that, that will take you a long way. And that is one thing. Second is, I want to encourage all the new engineers, everyone in career, to ask questions, because we sometimes believe, oh, will I appear as a dumb guy? Will they doubt my skills when I do, if I ask a dumb question? But it is not that other peoples don't have the questions, but they don't have the guts to ask the question. That is one thing one of my managers taught me. So few people have those guts to ask the question. So and sometimes when we becomes a little bit senior, or sometimes when we are early in the career, we are sometimes scared, sometimes we build an ego. So there is a saying, bigger the ego, the weaker the performance. You don't ask the questions, you think, okay, my ego will fall if I ask this question. So if we leave our ego out and ask the questions, sometimes it could open up new ways, new options, new solutions, and the team could get a new perspective from your question. Sometimes you may not provide a solution, but why are we doing it this way? Have we considered this? I'm just asking for my knowledge. Have we explored this option? Something like that can really open up a whole lot of discussion. So I want to encourage them to ask questions. And then never settle for comfort.
Mm.
Sometimes let's do a small experiment, right? So if I ask you to cross your arms, right, you would cross them like this, right? This is how I cross my arms. Yeah, and if I ask you to cross the other way, right, you will find it little hard, difficult, right? so
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 true.
yeah, so we are kind of used to that comfort zone.
Mm.
We don't want to leave out the comfort zone and do something new. Every time when we attempt something new, it feels weird, right?
So true.
Yeah. So what I want to tell you is that if you are in the discomfort zone, then there is no growth. And also follow your instinct. Sometimes few years into a one role, you realize, okay, in the first year you learn a lot on that role, but
Mm.
in the second year, third year, fourth year, you settle, you know most of the stuff, you don't learn a lot. And that puts you also, I mean, I don't want to try a new job because then I will be in the discomfort zone, I'll have to learn new stuff. But if you take the chance to go to that discomfort zone, you will grow in your comfort zone. There is a saying, more time you spend in your discomfort zone, the more your comfort zone will expand,
Mm.
right? For instance, let's take a situation. You do exercises, push-ups, right? So
Yep.
20 push-ups is your comfort zone, and then 25 or 30 push-ups is your discomfort zone. Then okay, one day you decide, okay, I'm going to go for 25 push-ups now. So even though in the early few days it's discomfort, then 25 push-ups become your comfort zone, and maybe the 35, 40 becomes your discomfort zone. So you are expanding your comfort zone. So that is one thing I encourage all the engineers. Don't stay in the comfort zone. Try to expand it by doing something you are not comfortable with. So that way you will grow. Your comfort zone will grow, and that will take you to different heights. So those are the three things I want to share with fresh engineers.
Yeah, and I think that's incredible. I think there's so much value in those three pieces, like pattern recognition, and then being able to predict these pieces of patterns when you start to see circumstances are very, very similar. And then, pattern creation. Okay, well, what am I choosing moving forward? I loved the quote on, the bigger the ego, the weaker the performance. I think that was the quote. It was like, it was incredible. It was like, wait a minute, and it's true. So many of us get caught up in this space of being like, look at me, I'm important, I'm the show, this and that, and actually has us overlook these really key elements that could be opportunities for growth, that could, really differentiate us from the competition. And in some ways, sometimes when we get caught up thinking we're too big, all of a sudden we slip in these, almost like these like silly traps to a certain extent. And that last piece around questions. So many of us are afraid of asking questions because we're afraid of looking stupid. And the reality is that those fears come from school when we were in class and putting our hand up and nobody wanted to be that person ask the questions. But those that are bold enough to ask these questions that everyone else is most likely thinking is
Mhm.
actually the person that's going to be willing to get the information necessary to perform better, to bring the team together closer because there's a stronger level of communication. And, you may break into new opportunities this way with more ease rather than trying to play this picture perfect game and this with a polished look, not asking too many questions. I think there's a lot of value there as engineers are very headstrong or very intellectual or very brilliant in a particular way, and these would be skills that would serve them so much. Even people that aren't quite engineers could get so much value from those three suggestions.
Yeah, yeah. To add to that, my current manager recently told me, like, "Harsh, when you joined this company, you were bombarding with questions. in every meeting, because I wanted, because it was a new environment, new tool set, new technology. So I was asking, why are we using this? Why don't we try this service likewise? So
Mhm.
I was trying to understand, and some, because it's, so what I realized was he was encouraging questions. He
Mhm.
wasn't thinking I was asking dumb questions or irrelevant questions, but every manager is encouraging the questions. That is the attitude, the perspective we should have, that my manager will appreciate my questions, not that he would think I'm a dumb guy, something like that. But the positive attitude towards questioning, that is something we all have to develop on.
And I think you're also speaking right now to managers too in some ways. This is also sharing with managers. It's an invitation to start creating environments that encourage people to ask questions. So many of our employees or our team may be afraid to ask questions, but are we as managers taking our responsibility to create environments that encourage our team to ask all kinds of questions, like the questions they may be ashamed or afraid to ask, or they may find silly, or they're thinking it's this a waste of time to be asking this. So it's almost a two-way street. Is us as contributors, are we stepping into that courage and asking those questions, and as managers, are we fostering those environments that encourage our team to ask questions?
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, if we think about the leadership aspect
Yes.
of that questioning thing, it's the responsibility of the manager to build that environment, to empower his teammates to ask the questions. So the deeper the relationship he has with the team would be willing to ask questions, even when there are a lot of external stakeholders. Because if I think, okay, my team would be I would be letting my team down if I ask this question in front of external stakeholders. If
Mhm.
that is the attitude your manager is developing, I mean, there is a problem. But
Yeah.
your manager should be encouraging you to ask questions, because that is the way the team can clarify things from the external parties, and then that will give the team a better vision, a better goal towards their final destination. So that is another important leadership quality, I would say. And among other very important leadership qualities, questioning and encouraging the environment, or empowering the environment for the teammates to ask questions, is an excellent quality of a leader
Yeah.
manager.
I know, Harsha, leadership, like from knowing you from, before this interview, I know personal development and growth is so important to you, and it has been for many years. And even you're quoting Tony Robbins at the beginning of this call, like you are someone who has invested quite a bit in yourself over years of inner work. I know that leadership is very important to you. I'd love to get your perspective on leadership in this interview. If you have any shares, I would love to hear them.
Yeah, if I just think about what I consider as excellent leadership, there are few portraits that I have. Um, there are certain traits, I would say, that I have seen in excellent leaders who have managed me. So one thing is that they empower decision making, even at the very bottom level of the company. We might think, okay, decision making is important only at very high levels of the organization, but in order to reach there, those employees should have been empowered to make decisions. For example, it is also a muscle, in my opinion, decision making, because there is a chance, 50-50 chance, the decision you make could go right or could go wrong. But the more you make decisions, the more your manager empowers you to make decisions. You learn, okay, if your decision does good, that's fine. If it goes wrong, you understand your pattern. Okay, if these conditions existed, if I make this decision, then it is going to ruin the company, ruin my plan, everything. So I learned out of it, and next time when these conditions come, I make a better decision. So if I make a wrong decision at the bottom level, the consequences are going to be very less. So if we practice that from the very bottom level, when we go above a level, e- each level above in our career, we make the impact of our decisions are going to be large, right?
Yeah.
So when we practice that muscle, we the probability of the success of our decisions are going to increase, because we are practicing that muscle. And then when we reach like a VP level or CXO level, our decisions are going to be pretty much accurate. They are not going to be wrong decisions. So that is where I believe the excellent quality of empowering decision making comes in the manager. From the bottom level onwards, that practice has to come. So then if the employees doesn't get enough opportunities to make decisions, and if they are worried, if that their manager would blame them for the wrong decisions, then they wouldn't be willing to take decisions, and they wouldn't develop that muscle to make right decisions, right? So that is one thing I love to see in a good manager, empowering decision making. And one other thing, I don't believe in big titles when it comes to leadership, right? Because uh, there are a lot of things we can do as a team player, as an employee towards your organization, even without a big title. You can share your knowledge with the team members. Anything you learn, any technology you learn, any finding you do, you can share that. That is a leadership, right? And I remember, because I relate so many things from the basketball which I played couple of years ago. I have never held any captaincy or vice captaincy in a big game, but I was cheering my team whole entire game. And I have had the captaincy, it comes from the previous year to this year, and it usually goes in the seniority level, how many years a player have played in a team. So I haven't got that opportunity, but I have had the previous year captain coming to me and telling me, they call me Pitta, like my short name in the team. They call me Pitta. You deserve to be a captain, but because of the seniority thing, we cannot give you one. But you are strongly a good candidate for the captaincy, something like that. So that really motivates me. That really praises me for everything I do as a team player. And I believe that is. So I don't believe in a big title. We should not wait until we get a title to become a leader. That is one thing. One other thing. And then uh, a leader, we need a leader. The leader's best quality of a leader comes out in disruptive, challenging times. Okay, any leader can lead a team in a comfortable, convenient situation. When the business is doing good, when the team is performing well, any leader can lead that team. But the good leadership comes when navigating through disruptive, challenging times. So if you can keep your team motivated until they see the end of the tunnel, that is the kind of leadership I think we all should have. Not just taking credit when the team is doing good, but taking the blame and encouraging the team motivated until they pass that difficult period and progress, make good progress. That is another good quality of a leader. And then sometimes we believe, okay, leaders, even though they have to be little like technical, but I want to share a story here. I have had my first manager. I asked something in the early day. I asked her, how do we do this in this system? And she taught me. And couple of weeks later, she comes and asks me the same thing. How do we do this? So, so that is the kind of technical knowledge sometimes our managers have. But she used to have so much command, conviction in the meetings. I never had the fear that I would get blamed for something in a meeting. She was protecting the team. She was taking the blame. That she was sometimes, she wasn't too technical. She couldn't solve the technical problems, but she had that strong attitude, strong energy to say, okay, if you are not, for especially when dealing with other parties, she had a strong opinion, strong position. Okay, if you are not giving this to us, we are not moving any further. That strong position she held, because that is a part of the leadership that we all trusted. We believed in her. So those are kind of the excellent leadership qualities that I am seeing in the good leaders, and that I want to develop when I become a leader with a title. I don't have a title yet, but when I become a leader with a title,
Yeah.
those are the kind of qualities I want to demonstrate towards my team.
Incredible. It makes me think of this small quote I heard of just recently. Instead of have, do, and be, it's about be, do, and have. Who do you need to be? Then what do you need to do to then have what you want? Instead of, oh, it's when I will have these things that I will do what's necessary so I can become XYZ. And so many things of what you've shared is like, how can you embody those leadership qualities today before someone giving us these titles? And a great leader, a great manager, a great senior executive will encourage us to be those leaders in every step of the way leading up to that position, not just when they get there, not just at the end of the day, but really from the very, very beginning.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That is the mindset we all need to develop, without going for the title, without, okay, I will do this when I become the manager, I will do this when I become the director. Rather than having that attitude, we have to say, okay, I will do this, and I will become a manager, director when the time is right. My value will be recognized. I just have to play the game of
Yes.
becoming a lead, playing a leadership role. That's all the game I have to play. And that really shifts your mindset, how you look at things. If I'm a manager, how would I look at this? How would I see the big picture, rather than just being like the individual contributor mindset? How a manager would look at this. So that is, if we develop that mindset, the promotions, title, raises, everything will automatically come to us.
Absolutely. Harsha, I have a question that I love asking just because I think it's so insightful and it allows us to connect to your story even more so. What were some of the biggest challenges and lessons of your career, and how did you grow from them?
Yeah, I would say there were a lot of decisions I had to make,
Yeah.
and some were very critical, career critical. I had to give up my career and make a significant shift, I would say.
Beautiful.
Those circumstances in forced me to a paradigm shift in my career, in my life, and everything. For instance, when my wife, we wanted to when she wanted to pursue a PhD in US, I was doing well in my country, Sri Lanka, and okay, what I thought was, okay, what are the options that this opportunity could bring to us?
Mm.
And I was thinking about a goal that I was in my in my then position. I was trying to uh, waiting for a position that could come to me in 30 years time, which I
Mm.
don't know. I won't whether I wasn't sure whether I would even live that long.
Wow.
But there was something immediate. So we took that decision, and there are some of the values that I want to talk about here that shaped me,
Mm.
especially when it comes to decision making and all.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So there are few things that I believe that shaped my life,
Mhm.
uh, like my parents, my wife, and basketball as a sport,
Yeah.
and then religious affiliations I had, and
Mm.
my education.
Wow.
So what my parents taught me, uh, they taught me, my dad especially taught me the value of integrity. I was working as a customs officer, and my dad was also working as a customs officer. And there are some practices, popular practices, sometimes that people would think not so about the integrity,
Mm.
and go with the flow. What the majority do, we will do, something like that attitude, without considering whether it is right or wrong, whether it is transparent or not. That kind of decision sometimes people make. But my dad taught me how important the integrity is. And when there were situations that somebody tried to push me in a wrong direction, that really helped me to gain on track and maintain my integrity, even though it wasn't the most popular choice. So one thing. And then uh, I learned about I learned how to consider quality over price. uh,
Mm.
Especially my parents, when they had to give me computer science education, there were a lot of popular choices, but they took a little expensive choice, and that really shaped my future a lot. That is how I moved into programming, software engineering, and then everything, because they had a very nice curriculum that the institute that they put me in, even though it was little expensive.
Mhm.
And so that is the quality over price attitude that they had, that really shaped my life. And
Mm.
then the one that I just mentioned about decision making, sometimes when we are stuck, we are thinking between, okay, is this the way to go, is this the way to go, and sometimes we wait until the perfect time comes
Yeah.
when we have all the data points. Okay, I will wait, I will delay the decision making and not make a decision at this time. But I have understood from my parents that sometimes you have to make a decision
Yeah.
with it. Sometimes few months into that, you will realize, okay, this was not the best decision, but you learn from that, and then you will make a better decision next time, rather than you wait until the time is right, until you have all the data points and everything to make a decision. Sometimes you have to take that decision and stand by that decision. That is one good thing I learned. And then my wife, she really taught me about commitment. She gave her heart and soul for everything she does. For instance, when we were trying to get to a when she was trying to get to a US PhD program, she was lacking some research experience. So, but she wanted to do a PhD, so she wanted to have a strong application. So, what she did, she gave up her full time paid position and started voluntary research in her undergraduate institution. She continued that for nearly 1 year, if I'm correct, and she got some research experience, and she made her application strong. She published a paper, and then she got into the PhD program in a US university. So likewise, there are a lot of lessons I learned. One is the she always took the uncomfortable action whenever she had to take. For instance, when she had to graduate with a master's degree, she had two options. She could take few credits courses and graduate, or she could publish her research work and graduate, which was hard with a baby. She had to go weekends to the labs to do the experiments and publish, read everything. But she took that uncomfortable action, that difficult route, and which really opened up a lot of other opportunities for us. So that is one thing I learned. Another thing I learned from my wife.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of things I want to share, especially the sports. Sports taught me about the importance of consistency.
Mm.
Uh, so if I tell you now, I've been consistently posting videos in my YouTube channel. So where I got that, like when I recall, I feel like, okay, it came from this commitment I had in the basketball. So when I was in like 14 years old, I remember we had to attend the practice entire year, and then just 2 weeks before the tournament they pick the team. So sometimes
Oh,
you practice the entire year, but you don't get selected, you don't get to play.
wow.
So it was like uh,
Mm.
it was the last school vacation, and there are only 2 weeks to end the vacation. And some of my friends who were coming for practices, they gave up. Okay, if I don't get selected, I would lose the even the last 2 weeks of the vacation. I would better take these 2 weeks off and rest. I don't worry about getting selected to the team. And some of them gave up, but I somehow persisted, because I tried swimming before, it didn't work out. I tried table tennis before, it didn't work out. I went to wushu, kung fu. I got hit and my lip was bleeding. I gave up on that. So I had no other option but to somehow persist on this. And when I got selected to the team, it built my confidence to a totally different level. So that consistency really helped. And it also, now when I look at that, it gives me some comparison on
Mm.
the effort I put in and the rewards I get. So when for that entire year we were practicing, I just calculated around 600 total hours to play
Mm.
or to be on the court for like 4 minutes, right?
Wild.
Yeah, it's like that. That is the
Mm.
amount of commitment you need, and then the reward you get, it's like to be on the court for like 4 minutes. And maybe I had the ball in my hands, maybe maximum 20 seconds, I would say, right? To hold the ball for 20 seconds, you have to put in 600 hours of practice every day from 6:30 to 7:30. Before the school we had the practice, and after the school from 2:30 to 5:30. And the school vacation, it was from 8 to 5 full day. So when I calculated all that, it was like 600 altogether hours. But something like that. So that is the kind of effort we need if we need to get that kind of confidence, that kind of reward ultimately. Yeah,
Wow.
lot of things. And the one thing I want to share here about the leadership and cheering. So I remember, sometimes I was the only guy cheering our team, because the it's you don't need someone to cheer your team when your team is scoring, right? When your score is going high, anyone can cheer. You don't need to cheer. The crowd will cheer for your team, right? But when your team is down, your score is stuck at some point, and the other team score is going up, and like a rocket. The entire crowd is cheering to them. Their bench is cheering to them. There is no one cheering to them and cheering to your team. And that is when you need to step in and shout for your team, bring that energy. So whether I'm on the bench or the court, I was always cheering my team, trying to get everyone, to keep everyone's morale up, and to not to lift their mental situation, not to let them down. So that is one thing I learned, how that is one thing I learned regarding leadership as well. So because of those, at these difficult situations, at these challenging situations, only you need a real leader. Otherwise everyone will cheer for your team, right? When the things get wrong, that is when you need a real leader to lead the team.
Mm.
And the last thing, or the last two things I want to share about the religious affiliation. So whenever there are we all encounter these nervous situations, conflicting, confused situations in our life. And I'm glad that my parents sent me to uh, like Sunday schools, where
Mm.
I had the opportunity to practice real Buddhism, real
Mm.
practices like meditation and saying prayers. And also that really has helped me when I'm in a confused situation. That really calms my mind. That
Mm.
really brings peace to my mind.
Mm.
So I'm super grateful for the opportunities that my parents gave me through the religious affiliations. And also it taught me how to uh, find, how to get to the right from wrong, what is right, what is wrong. So no matter what benefit I get, no matter what financial, what other benefit I get, I don't want to take the wrong route. I
Mm.
want to always be on the right route, no matter how dangerous or how not super rewarding that for me. And finally, the education part that I want to share. uh, I have a I'm grateful for the passion I had for learning, because I have learned different subjects in my life: law, engineering, management. So I had that passion always to learn something that is helpful for me, because sometimes people believe when I'm going to end learning, that is the attitude. Some people, they don't want to do any course, they don't want to do any degree, they want to give up the learning and do just the job. But I'm glad that I always had that enthusiasm to learn something, hoping it would help me in some way. So I'm grateful for that passion, and that is something I wish I get in my next birth as well. I believe in next birth. So if
Yeah.
I get that passion for learning, I will definitely going to succeed and build a better life. And one story I want to share about the education, that is, after the school, while I was doing my undergrad education, I used to do this private extra tuition to earn some extra income, to earn some money. And when I was going for them, usually in a bus, I see the poor people, beggars on the roads, and I try to see what what difference do we have? He has the same body, same hand, same leg, same body, but what differentiates each of us was the knowledge or the learning that I had. I usually didn't take any materials to teach for those tuition sessions. I was just it was just my knowledge sharing, but I was earning 10 times per hour or 2 hour more than what that poor person could earn. So that knowledge we gain, that can create so much impact, that can change our lives for better. That is the one thing I realized regarding education. So I'm super grateful for the education, the religious affiliations I had, and basketball as a sport which taught me a lot, and then my wife and my parents. So those are like some of the most important things that really shaped my life.
Absolutely. And what I love about so many of these different reference points is they have a theme that, there's so many times we have to make a difficult decision. There's so many times we have to pick the hard road to be able to gain in the future. Like you said, those 600 hours of basketball on the court, to have the ball in your hands for 20 seconds. Most people will never even consider putting 10 hours into something, you know forget 600 hours, and then in a lifetime it's like 10,000 hours of mastery. And it's about falling in love with the process rather than being distracted by the result, by that shiny object, by the destination, and that discipline. And I love that these stories, even from childhood, and these values that your parents instilled in you, that still have such an impact today and have shaped you and your career.
Yeah, just to add to that,
Of
the what
course.
you just shared, like this is something I learned at one of the Tony Robbins session. He mentioned repetition is the secret to mastery.
Yeah.
So if you take players like Stephen Curry, he's making around 3,000 shots every day. That is why he became the best three-point shooter in the NBA history. Caitlin Clark is making that many shots every day. That is why she's the best uh, woman basketball player in the history,
Yeah.
because that repetition have made them the experts, have made them the masters in their field. So, and also one thing, when you repeat the things, as I mentioned, the discomfort become the comfort.
Yeah.
So sometimes like when it comes to, I'm doing this video creation, so what the video creation which was kind of very overwhelming in the early days, now with repetition, with practice, I've been able to contain the time for the video recording, content creation. So you are expanding, your comfort zone is expanding, and whatever the things that were previously in your discomfort zone are now coming to your comfort zone. So that is one thing, yeah, I want to add here.
Incredible. Yeah, absolutely. There's something definitely about stepping out of our comfort zone so often that it becomes, like you said, our comfort zone starts to expand, and it gives us more courage to then step into a new version of like the discomfort zone, and we're more willing to explore what we haven't explored before because we're building that muscle and trusting ourselves in that process. I would love to know also your take on AI. So much is changing right now, and the world is like shifting, and AI is this nice big buzzword. I'd love to get your perspective on what's happening with AI.
Yeah, it's, I believe I understand it's disruptive, it's challenging, because we don't know what technology will come in another 2 or 3 months time, because of the rapid pace the AI is improving, developing. But I want to highlight another lesson I learned from this book, A Leader Who Had No Title. Turbulent times build great leaders. So this is like a turbulent time, and we don't know, we have a lot of uncertainty of the way the businesses operate, how the transactions are happening. But if we do whatever we do and keep on learning, keep on adapting, I believe it's going to give us some rewards in the future. And For instance, I recently pivoted the direction of my YouTube channel towards I started making content on various AI topics, and seeing so much traction in
Yeah.
that compared to the previous videos I did on computer architecture, other topics related to computer science. Specifically, the AI related content is gaining so much visibility. So that is the kind of opportunities that are available. So rather than seeing that as a victim of this technology, I would love to see that as an owner and take ownership and see how we can leverage it and use that for our benefit, for our performance increase, for our efficiency improvement. That is where I am looking at it. And I want to give an example. So these challenging situations we have encountered before, like in the COVID era, right? It was a very challenging situation. We didn't know uh, what would happen, how we can do the grocery shopping and everything. But then there were a lot of ways that it forced us uh, in the way we do things, like the way delivery systems improved, virtual meetings improved, remote work setups improved. So a lot of new things came out from these challenging times. So I'm looking at this as a situation like the COVID, where there is a lot of uncertainty at this time, but there are a lot of other opportunities that are coming up that we can think of and leverage, and then in a couple of years we could be earning millions on them. That is how I would like to have look at AI.
Absolutely. And it's an invitation that the most difficult times have the biggest opportunities hidden in them. It just takes someone that's willing to see them or to create them truly. Instead of being afraid, it's deciding, wait a minute, what's the opportunity here?
Yeah, true, true. We all need to step into that and start somewhere. Start with something simple on leveraging AI, and then expand on that, learning something new in AI every day. So you can make those small improvements you make daily, that will create a bigger impact with the time. Yeah.
Amazing. Well, I have two last questions for you. One is related to the podcast. We are on the PLA podcast. PLA is how we met. It's been an incredible platform, and it's been an absolute treat to be able to meet you through PLA. And I'm so excited to see you continue to grow in PLA. I'd be curious, what originally brought you to PLA, and what has been your favorite thing that you've gotten from PLA?
Yeah, I believe the best thing I learned from PLA is the PLA's philosophy of
Mm.
reputation driven development. So you don't need to be a member of the PLA, but to grow on that philosophy, you need to have visibility, leadership, communication, and technical breadth. So those are like the four pillars of success that this reputation driven development is built upon. So what it recommends is making videos on topics in your domain, so that all these four pillars grow simultaneously, improving your communication, improving your visibility, improving your technical breadth, improving your leadership. So all those pillars are simultaneously growing when you do that. So I'm
Mm.
super excited. When I joined PLA, I think, okay, this is something workable, I believed. And then I had issues. uh, I had the inner doubts in myself whether this is the right time for me. I'm hardly managing my finances. Will that be an extra burden? And maybe I don't have any stable visa. Should I wait until I get a good visa? So all those inner doubts were coming. But I decided, okay, I discussed with my family, and I did the investment, and I joined the PLA, and I think it's the best decision I ever made. Because ultimately what we all want is to think, when we come to the last day of our life, whether we want to regret that we did not live our life fully, or to delight that we lived it to the full potential, or at least we try to get there. So we don't have that disappointment, we don't have that frustration at the on the last day of our life. I think I don't have that frustration for sure. I won't have that frustration for sure.
Incredible. I think, Harsha, you bring up such a key element. Do you die with the regrets of a failure? Actually, you don't. You die with the regrets of the shots you never took.
That's right. That's right. Totally agree. You
And
said it very brief, like very in very short form. You mentioned it. Yeah, very
yeah.
nice.
And Harsh, I think that this is also a testament to you and the work that you've done on yourself and being an athlete of life, like not just being a basketball athlete, you have applied that philosophy to your life, to your work, to your dedication to your personal development. And it takes someone like you that takes an incredible opportunity like PLA and milks it for everything it's got. And not everyone is willing to take those opportunities, we say take the bull by the horns and really make the best of it. And so that's really a compliment and a testament to you and your dedication to make the best of it. So I do want to put out for anyone who's like curious on like what is this PLA thing, even though we're on the PLA podcast and they're coming to this episode from another source, I would love to put the QR code on the screen in case you are curious about what is PLA, what does it offer. This is the next free training. You'll get all the details to it. There's so much value that they even provide just in the free training, which even I have loved. This is how I originally came across PLA, was through a free training once upon a time, many, many moons ago. And so if you are curious, feel free to scan this QR code and it will bring you to the page of when the next free training is and give you a little bit of a taste of that if it is for you. And if it's not, that's totally okay too. One thing, Harsha, that I wanted to ask you is what are you excited about for the future? You're someone who has so many projects and you're building in such an intentional way. I'm sure not only the audience, but I myself want to know what are you most excited about for what's still coming for you?
Yeah, one thing I'm excited about is uh, I want to quote Steve Jobs here because he mentioned we cannot connect the dots looking forward. We can always connect the dots looking backward. So when I look at where I am at in my career, the opportunities I have got from my employer and everything, I think that connect me to the dots why I joined PLA, why I joined my YouTube channel. So I've been able to connect all of these in a way. Okay, because I joined PLA, I was able to start my YouTube channel. Because I started YouTube channel, I was able to get this opportunity. So I'm super excited to see that this podcast that we are doing today, I'm sure it would lead me to some other place. I'm excited to see where it leads me. Maybe another opportunity from my employer, maybe another session for me to deliver a speech, something like that, that will help me with my visibility, communication, and everything. So I'm super excited about that. And then uh, I see what I see in my scope, that there is a momentum that I have built currently, and I want to keep up with that because I heard a saying from one of the speakers that we cannot manufacture momentum. When the momentum comes, you should not take the pedal of the gas. You should have to go on. Because you can generate content, but the momentum that is generated with the content you create, you cannot manufacture it. That comes automatically with the crowd, with your audience and everything. So when the momentum gets going, you should not slow down. You just have to push and move forward. So that is one thing I'm excited about. I'm trying to see. I don't know. There is a lot of uncertainty what would happen, where this leads. But when you take those chances, a lot of other avenues open up. That is one thing I realized after I started the YouTube channel. I got a lot of other opportunities, a lot of other ideas that I could implement. So once you take one uncomfortable action, lot of other actions you can take. You start seeing a lot of those other actions, potential actions you can take. So that is one thing I'm excited about. And then one story I want to share, if you are familiar with this caterpillar and the cocoon story, right? The cocoon, if the caterpillar wants to become the butterfly, it has to undergo that struggle to break the cocoon and then become the butterfly. If you break the cocoon on your own, to let the caterpillar to release, to come out of it easily, sometimes the caterpillar would die, because that is part of the process. You have to come out of the uh, cocoon with struggle, with that uncomfortable action. the action in that discomfort zone, then only you will become that nice, beautiful butterfly. So those challenging situations, those uncomfortable actions are going to mold you to a more stronger, more capable, a person with a lot of potential. So that is what I'm excited about, because every day I am learning new thing. I am expanding my comfort zone. So I'm super excited to see where it leads me, and hopefully we will connect with another podcast, and I
So,
should be able to connect this podcast and show you this is where it got me, and connect the dots. Yeah.
oh, it makes me think of the butterfly effect. We never know what this small decision in one moment can lead us to. And definitely, this is going to lead to something incredible. And it makes me think of one last quote: success is earned through hard, difficult work. And that is the reality, is nothing is given in this life, especially not some of the most incredible things that we get to create. So Harsha, thank you so much for being our guest today. We got a ton of value. It was an absolute treat to have you in here, and hopefully have you again on the PLA podcast. Until then, everyone, have a beautiful day, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for hosting me, Dunia, and it was great sharing my experience, knowledge, and thank you very much. And hoping to see you in another podcast soon.
Absolutely. Have a beautiful day, everyone.
Yeah, have a beautiful day. Bye.